Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of November 6th through the 13th of 2022. And we have a really big, wild week ahead because we're in the middle of eclipse season. We just had an eclipse on the 25th of October. It was a partial eclipse. This next eclipse is a full moon lunar eclipse. And so we're going to be feeling quite the lunatic, if you will. What I mean by that is that when we're working with lunar energy, it's very feminine, emotional. There's a lot of intensity, especially because this is in Scorpio Taurus. The moon will be in Taurus. So it will have its extremes in there, but that doesn't always mean a bad thing. So stay with me. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But let me just put another pin on the map because we start the week on Sunday with Mercury canoodling the South Node, and the moon is in Aries, and Mercury in Scorpio is Mercury's in Scorpio. The depositor is Mars, and Mars is retrograde. Why I'm bringing all this up and how we can put this into some layman's terms. This is an indicator that there's some conversations and discussions from the past that are going to come up again that have very similar themes as the last couple of months. And I will also now point to this eclipse. Think back to the end of April, first part of May, because there's a theme around the closing up or releasing and maybe having some revelation, information revealed that can stir up some things from our past as well. Familiar situations, they can trigger old memories. That again can create some emotional drama. And if we're not really grounded and we start to let our emotions take charge and we let our emotions kind of run the show, we could actually create a lot of chaos that we don't need. So this is the invitation. This is the gift of a Taurus moon. And also Taurus and the moon are fine friends. The moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. So it likes being here, but it's a very friendly, it can be very friendly, very warm, very stable and healing. This can be a time where if we remember to ground, if we remember everything is just energy, the true nature of things, it's just energy. If we can do that, and when we feel what we feel and say, okay, this is just energy in motion, it'll move through us versus us acting on it. Now, I will say, if you're not self-aware, if you aren't somebody who has a regular practice and you interact with people who are a little more unconscious, then you're going to most likely not be grounded, or you'll be interacting with people who aren't very grounded. And one of the best things that we can do is to model it. And what does being grounded mean? Centered. It doesn't mean boring. It doesn't necessarily mean passive, but it means that you're able to gather all of your energy, all of your attention, and bring it all into one single focus. And being able to meet whatever shows up in that kind of way. And that's one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves and we can give another person. You know, the other thing about all this Scorpio energy is intimacy, authenticity, and being able to create those emotional bonds. And what better way of truly being intimate than being seen? And how are you seen by someone when they're fully present? So you want to be seen, be fully present with someone. Gather all that attention, all that energy, and just allow every single moment to let you, to invite all of us to show up fully. So Monday, Tuesday, we have Mercury canoodling with the sun. We have that Taurus full moon lunar eclipse. So we're closing out the new moon eclipse back in April, beginning of May. Remember, eclipses we can feel sometimes a month before, a month after. So if nothing happens this week, that doesn't mean it won't. Stay tuned. There are things that can shift, that can come up and change. And even if it's just a conversation, I mean, I think about, here's a perfect example. Today, my mom pocket dialed me. And rarely do I talk to my mom on her phone. Usually it's on my father's phone and the two of them are together. So I ended up calling her and we ended up just talking, having a very sweet conversation and talked about a couple of things from the past. And so it's a very benign example, but it's things from the past that come forward in order for us to either readdress it or approach things differently. So don't be surprised if you've got lovers from the past showing up or past trauma that needs to be healed, needs to be released. It's a beautiful time to be able to have that third party support. Also, we're looking at things like we value. What do we value most because of the Taurus energy here? What are our closest relationships? How are they feeling right now? How are we showing up for them and how are they showing up for us? Also, we're looking at places where maybe we held a grudge or there was some form of anger or bitterness or resentment. Now is a beautiful time to practice forgiveness and to let it go. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It also doesn't mean that the relationship itself is going to stay. But remember that forgiveness is about liberation. It's about liberating ourselves from holding on to that negative energy that no longer serves us and maybe has held us back and even kept our hearts closed. The moon loves being in Taurus, as I mentioned before, so we could find ourselves really feeling nurtured and loved when we surround ourselves with the people and the things that we love and value the most. And as I mentioned, secrets can get revealed at this time because things have a way of being, you know, shining in the light of this full moon. And when a secret comes out, it's going to probably stir up some form of emotion. Again, not always bad. It could be that you and a friend have had this strong bonded relationship for a long time, and then suddenly the friend reveals that they're in love with you. Ooh, and that's something you've been wondering about and wanting, or maybe you reveal it to them. So that's not a bad thing. It might be that you and your partner were secretly behind the scenes thinking about something like buying a house or moving in together or whatever. And then one of you mentions it and suddenly you're talking about it. Now, the other thing I will offer as another pin on the map, this is also a bit of an erratic kind of full moon because the sun will be sitting directly across the sky from Uranus, and anything goes when Uranus is involved. So, new information, sudden information, that sort of thing, they could lead us to some form of inspiration, motivation, creativity. It can also give us opportunities where we get to support others, and they may need our strength, they may need our wisdom. Anything goes, though. This is one of those, I will just put a little small fine print here. There is some unpredictability or places that you just won't even know until it happens. And that's why I say this is a time where we come for present, we get grounded and meet it, whatever shows up. Grief is also something that may be up for many of us. So during this time, we could feel overwhelmed with the loss of something because remember, Scorpio energy is all about the phoenix rising from the ashes, but it has to burn first, right? And so there's something here that has to be let go. Again, full moon, letting go, letting go. And when we create that spaciousness, grief often reveals itself. So giving ourselves time to grieve. I believe no one should ever grieve alone. So please tap into your community. Also, I would say that I have to do an honorable mention here on Wednesday. We now have Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. It's retrograde, but it's close enough canoodling with Neptune that we can think back to the April and May time, and April in particular when Jupiter and Neptune were canoodling exact. Well, there may have been opportunities that we felt we missed, or something showed up and we just weren't able to tackle it, or we didn't have what we needed at that time. Well, now this is a perfect time, again, with all this South Node in Taurus energy, or excuse me, South Node in Scorpio energy, the returning of things that we can choose against, the returning of opportunity. This is also with Jupiter and Pisces, we have more compassion, more faith, more hope. With the retrograde, it most likely will be turned on us, which is great because most of us are overgivers. This is a chance for us to give back to ourselves, to have more self-compassion, more faith in what we really do well. Also, keep your intuition on high alert. In other words, when you get those hits, when you have those dreams, when you're asking questions and you receive the signs, they're going to be there to confirm for things. Now, with the retrograde, you may not be sharing it immediately, but it's there for you to use. Trust it. Trust it. Also, this is a bit of a heaven on earth kind of feeling. We may be a little more dreamy than usual. We may need to take time to escape so that we can understand and process all the energy that's flowing around here. So definitely carve out some space if you can. I'm going to be taking Friday the 11th off. It's Veterans Day. I honor all the veterans out there. I come from a military family. So, of course, I honor my father and my brother, who are both military veterans, and all of those who have sacrificed their lives for this country. Thank you. And one other thing I won't run away from, which I always think is fascinating, this eclipse week, it falls on election day here in the US. Things are going to shift. I will give you my prediction about the elections, and I think we're going to be surprised at who shows up, which party. I think there's going to be some independents that also make a name for themselves. There's definitely a shift that's going to be coming here. Thursday, Venus will trine Neptune. So this gives us a lot more of that romantic and dreamy quality. We can find ourselves maybe in a little bit of a spending spree, depending on how this is affecting you. Be careful too, if you're dating somebody or you're going out on a date and you're meeting someone during this time, too good to be true may be a real scenario. So vet them out, take your time, but go out and have some fun. This is a perfect time to just enjoy life. Free flowing energy of giving and receiving. Again, I'm going to emphasize the receiving mode because I have a feeling most of you are watching this are big givers. So please remember to give the same joy that you to others that you give to them when you're giving. Okay, so be open to receive so that those who want to give to you are able to feel that same joy. The moon will canoodle with Mars in the sign of Gemini on Friday, activating probably a lot of curiosity, chatty conversations, needing to connect with others. It also could create monkey mind. We know how that is. You know, I say, not my circus, not my monkeys. Well, this time, check in with the monkeys of the mind, because that could create anxiety. It could create emotional stress if we're not careful. Using your meditation practices or your mindfulness practices, that can really help. Or being active, like myself, I have to go and move the body in some way. If the ski resort is open here, I'm going skiing on Friday. That's one of the reasons I'm taking the day off, not just because it's Veterans Day, but yeah. So I'm going to be out working out in that way. Also working on projects, subjects, activities that allow your mind to have something productive to focus on. Remember, the mind is no different than the body. It needs to be trained. It needs to go to that gym, so to speak. So give it something to do. That will keep it really productive. It will also keep it on track. Saturday, Mercury will trine Neptune, Venus will sextile Pluto. This is where our rich inner world and imagination can really be active. It can create opportunities and solutions if we're trying to work through issues. This is a fun and creative time, especially if you really want to have more joy and contentment in your life. Intuitive hits, more of this intuitive energy can lead to really powerful moments in the relationships and in financial decisions. There could also be a chance to escape again. This is a great weekend to get away, with it being a holiday weekend as well. Magic is afoot. That's another thing. Pay attention to the magical things. The muggle world had better watch out, is what I say. Highly sensitive energy here. So especially those of us who are extremely highly sensitive, pay attention to the subtlety energy. Pay attention to all these things that are coming in, even telepathy. Communication can be really kind and gentle and supportive and compassionate during this weekend. It's a great time to connect with people that you really enjoy being around. And if you don't really like being around people this weekend, get out in nature and connect there. But also, as I talk about the highly sensitive energy and the intuitive energy being so strong, it's really important, again, to come back to ground. Come back to being fully present. And some of the grounding tools that I like to use is exercise, drinking water, and breath. Some of the simplest things, but very important. Something else I'll mention, if you're still watching this, it's a full moon in an earth sign. Taurus is an earth sign. So if you're doing a full moon ritual of releasing, it's a great way. One of the things I love to do, write what I'm releasing on a paper and bury it in the earth. So that'll get you out in nature, if nothing else. So if you're looking to let go of something or a few things, then that's a wonderful technique. But anything that's earthy, physical kind of thing that you want to do with what you're releasing is always a good thing. And Taurus rules the throat in the body. So speaking it, singing it, that sort of thing for releasing can also be a really powerful way of letting things go. All right. If you're still watching, thank you so much for your support, for all that you guys bring. And just know that I am thrilled to work with you. Come find me at jamiedawn.com and check out all the other social media. I know I suck when it comes to TikTok because it's a lot for me to actually do videos, and I hope that you guys understand this is a really is a labor of love for me. I want to make sure that I get the information out there and that sort of thing for you, but it does actually take a lot for me to sit here in front of a camera and talk with you. So thank you for holding that space with me sacred, and for all that you bring, not only to me but to this world. All right, you guys, have a great week. And I look forward to hearing how this eclipse energy and anything else you want to share shows up for you. Take care.